Rapport family? We are back with another great edition of Building Rapport. Today, we got an extra spicy guest joining us. It's brand new Auburn quarterback to the Auburn quarterback room, Zach Calzada, freshman from Texas A&M. Zach, thanks for joining us, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Zach, I want to get the interview kicked off talking a little bit about why you left Texas A&M and why Auburn. So the transfer portal has afforded a lot of athletes the opportunity to continue to pursue their careers at other schools without having to sit out a year. You chose Auburn. Tell us about that process and what went into you making that decision.
So it was a couple of options going into it. I didn't want it to be, such a big recruiting process like high school. High school was, narrowing down like 40 to 1. You have as much time as you want for that. It was going to be a quick decision for me. So, it was a couple schools, coming out of the portal that I knew I was going to be looking at. And Auburn was one that really stuck out. I really liked Coach Harsin. I really liked Coach Davis. Obviously not a part of the program anymore, but it's all right. I still, have faith in Coach Harsin, in the guys and what we're doing. And, it's been steady forward, and I'm really happy with what we got going on up here.
So, quick follow-up. Austin Davis was a big part of, why you decided to come to Auburn, but you stayed on board in light of that because you believe in the overall vision?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so, Coach Davis, he was really good. When he was recruiting me, watching Zoom, showing me how he wanted to kind of run the offense, stuff he wanted to do, and I really liked it. But I also really liked Coach Harsin and Coach Keesaw. Coach Keys was the receivers coach back then, and we still had a good relationship. So when he was kind of moved up into that spot, we were happy about it, and we're still moving forward. And then Coach Harsin as well, he has a really good grasp of the quarterback position. So I've just been trying to get, any knowledge I can from him, and, I'm still really positive.
All right, Zach. Well, let's talk about the current situation that you are in. You are coming back from an injury, right? So you've had to try to figure out how to absorb a lot of the playbook and get mental reps in. What has that process of recovery been like for you, and where are you right now with the health of the shoulder?
It's one of the hardest processes of my life. I'm not gonna lie to you, with transferring to a whole new environment, and on top of that, having to recover and not being able to be out throwing with the guys, working out, doing all that stuff to just kind of be stuck in the training room. It was really tough. But, I got through it. Now things are going really well. We're working. Guys are coming out, we're throwing, doing extra stuff, working really hard. And I'm really proud of the guys, how they're doing. And also myself, how I'm doing. But, it's just another situation. I've been in competitions every year that I've ever been in college. So my freshman year, competing for a backup spot. My sophomore year, competing for a backup spot. And last year, competing for a starting spot. And, I've won some, I've lost some. But at the end of the day, I've never hung my head, and I've always been, happy with the work that I put in. So, but as of the situation right now, it's going well. I'm just focused on myself and getting the guys ready.
Zach, quick follow-up there. You said that you spent some time limited because of the injury this spring. Explain to our listeners what that means for you, because it seemed like we were hearing that you were getting some throwing sessions in, but what does limited mean?
So it kind of got to spring. I got my surgery at the end of December on my shoulder. And so I was basically limited to almost nothing. I could do my legs and stuff, but since it was a labrum, any movement with the shoulder, so running, squats even, it was really limited. So I was kind of trying to do what I could. But for that first couple months was difficult. And then we got to spring, and I was cleared to throw. So I wasn't, in my best throwing shape, but, I was still being able to go out there and kind of get those on-air reps, throwing 7-on-7. Just kind of getting a feel for throwing with the guys, which was really helpful. And then the mental reps was probably the biggest takeaway from spring for me, being able to get a full grasp of the offense, and just processing, standing behind every play, making sure that I'm knowing where I'm supposed to go with the ball, kind of whatever's going on, kind of going through all that stuff in my head was really helpful. And now, now I'm physically back. I'm 100% ready. I still got to wear a little brace. But that's fine. It's the same one I wore last year, and now I'm back to work, and it's going really well.
Okay, Zach, I want to talk a little bit about the moment that you got thrust into the starting spot last year at Texas A&M. So you had a pretty high-profile offseason battle with Haynes King for the job. He wins it. And then versus Colorado, he suffers a season-ending injury, and you're suddenly thrust into the starting spot. Can you talk about the moment where you're suddenly the starting quarterback at a major SEC football program? And did you feel prepared for the moment? I know statistically you got better as the season went along from that game, but like talk about that moment and how prepared you felt in that moment.
It was a lot of things. I mean, I could have a 10-minute conversation with you just about that moment. But I guess to start, no, I was definitely prepared. I thought last offseason was probably the best offseason I've ever had. Part thanks to Haynes King. When seeing him work made me work, and then obviously, the work that I put in came out in the season. But it was really disappointing when we got to the season and I wasn't the guy, but I wasn't going to slow down what I was doing. So Kent State game, I was fully prepared. I knew their defense. I knew our game plan. Colorado game, I was fully prepared. I knew their defense. I knew our game plan. And it sucks when we got in, we were this close on a bunch of plays, just stuff where, we're not 100% on the same page. And that just came from, I think, lack of reps with those guys. But, we pushed through, and that was a crazy game. I mean, just trying to find a way, and we did at the end. We had those 2 drives at the end of the game where we got down, scored. They called it no score, and then we just went right back down and did it again. So it just took – I was fully prepared. It just took – it was a little bit shocking, surprising, because they always say you're one play away, but that was I've been a backup several times, and they always say that, and it just kind of never happened. So when it actually happened, it was kind of crazy, but I went in, and it just took a little bit for time for us to get going. But we were lucky, and we came out on top.
A quick follow up to that, because you mentioned that you felt prepared for the moment. What's that like in season for the backup? You said that there was maybe a lack of reps with the ones. Like, what are the reps like for the backup during the season?
I mean, it was for a backup. It was just, you're probably getting about in college. How we did it up there. It was about 50 to 75% of the reps that the starters get. You're just getting it with the 2s.
Okay.
So, I mean, like I said, I was prepared. I knew their defense. I knew the game plan, but nothing. And I think I want to speak for just about every quarterback who's ever been in a backup spot and had that happen. There's no preparing for that moment, because you truly never know if, when, or how it's going to happen. So when it happens, there's no preparing for that moment, but all you can do is be prepared for what you're supposed to do.
All right, Zach, I want to talk about toughness and battling adversity. So, one of the things that a lot of Auburn fans can attest to from just watching you from afar is getting injured in games, but bouncing back, coming back in the game, sticking in the pocket, taking the big hits. What helps you to be able to battle through just bad moments in the game, and even just playing through injury? Like, what helps you to get to that space where you're able to still perform under that type of adversity?
I think it's just the passion. I mean, adrenaline helps a little bit, but for me, I think it's just my passion. And I don't think I work hard. I don't think I work hard because I'm passionate, but I'm so passionate about it because of the work that I put in. When you stack hours and days on top of each other, and the age I'm getting to, years now, when you put in that level of work, and there's few guys in college that can really relate to it, in my opinion, because I've seen how guys work. And there's a select group of people, but the people that put in that work, and it's so consistent, and so it's draining, but we like it, and it creates a passion. So when you get out there, there's nothing that's going to stop you. So, a little pain in my left shoulder, I'm still throwing with my right, or a little pain in my left knee, I still got my right one, and I can throw it. I'm good.
So I want to follow up on that, and just that preparation process that you talk about. Like, what is that like for you, as far as you had to do mental reps right now, like the film room, all that kind of thing. Do you love doing that kind of stuff? You love getting in, watching film? What's the preparation process like for you, week to week?
So week to week, It's different. So, there's all different parts of the year, obviously.
Mhm.
So, there's different times to learn different things. I would say week to week is just, early on in the week, get a feel for the defense that you're playing against. What do they like to do? Do they like to do a lot of single high, two high? Do they like to try to load the box, stop the run? Do they going to drop 8 a lot? And then you get into kind of more situational stuff. So like third downs, kind of like crossing the 50 red zone. You want to do like see your 2 minutes, see the kind of stuff they do. Like a lot of teams like to go 2-man, and then when you get to inside the red zone, they like to switch it up to something else. So stuff like that, getting situational. And then, by Thursday, Friday, you have a good feel of kind of what they're doing. And then on top of that, the whole week, your game plan and how do we want to attack what they're doing. And then, by Friday, Saturday, everything's set and you're ready to roll.
Zach, I want to talk about probably what is your most high-profile start to date in the start that you had last year versus Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you had a slow build to this game. I would say, based on the newness of you in that position, not a lot of people were high on Texas A&M's chances of winning that. Yep. You went through a lot of adversity in that game. I mean, you took hits to the knees, the shoulders, came back through touchdown passes, and got your team in position to kick the game-winning field goal. Talk to us about that game and what you took away from that, and what your biggest learnings were from that game.
Wow, that was a crazy moment. But I think I won that game the week going into it. I don't think we won it on Saturday. I think we won that game going into it. And one thing I do want to clear up is that I've seen kind of this narrative of like, I kind of beat Alabama, and it wasn't. I think I played well that game, but our whole team as a collective played our hearts out. I mean, you look at our special teams, our defense, making goal line stops, creating turnovers, our receivers making plays. So that game was on everybody. But from my standpoint, we lost Arkansas 2 weeks before, then we lost to Mississippi State, and really, really tough losses. And we were just going into that week with, a nothing to lose mindset. I had, the whole town of College Station hated me. I just lost my first 2 games. And I had nothing to lose. I mean, I walked to class one time and I seen Calzada sucks written in chalk. I was like, wow.
Oh, wow.
But,
brutal.
I'm saying I had nothing to lose that game. And I didn't go to class. I didn't go to class that week. I was in there just straight preparing all week. I don't think there was a single play out there I didn't know exactly what they were doing. And it just came down to believing we could do it. But, when we got into the game, I remember going into halftime and I was like, dude, we're up by 10 or whatever we were up. And it's like, we're really going to win this game. And we came out, had a slow third quarter, but we knew we were going to win the game the whole time. And it was, I would say, the 10 minutes after the game, and really that night, it was more crazy than the game itself. Because in the game, I was just playing. I never really – halftime, I was looking at myself in the mirror. I had to, remind myself. I was like, dude, just keep doing your thing, keep doing your thing. And everybody knows Alabama always going to try to come back. So, but that whole thing was just – the game itself, I wasn't really, nothing was really going on except in my head, just throwing football, finding open guys, managing the offense. And then after the game, everybody, rushed the field, and I was like, holy, what? I mean, I can't believe we just did this.
Right. Quick follow-up. What was that game like in the trenches? Were the Bama guys, were they vocal? Were they trash talkers?
Man, I don't know. I left that to my O-line. My best friend out there, Philly, number 58, our left tackle. I left all the trash talking to him. That was one of my good friends. I never seen somebody talk so much in my life, but I left it up to him. I remember a couple of games I saw him barking back. I was like, hey, just remember, you're gonna keep barking. They want to hit me more, so hold on to him. But no, I let it up to them. There was a couple I remember. I do remember on our 2-minute drive. On our 2-minute drive, it was the first one, and I threw an option to Jalen Wiedemeyer, and I shuffled up, and I heard it. The ball whisked right past the guy's finger. It was about a centimeter away from him hitting it out of my hand, and he was like, "Oh, I almost got you on that." I was like, "Yeah, you need to get back up. You need to get back and get ready for the next play."
Have you identified your Philly on this team? Who's the trash talker on the offensive line?
I haven't. I thought I was gonna be Jeremiah, but he switched back to defense. So I wish it was Jeremiah, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll
All
see.
right.
That's inside scoop right there. I didn't know
Yeah, we
he was
need it.
switching back over. That's
Oh, shit.
good.
I didn't know y'all didn't know that. My bad.
It's all good.
My
Man. I
bad,
don't think a lot of people.
My bad.
It's not live. We can edit it out if he ain't supposed to know it. All right. So let's talk about though. You camaraderie, right? Like that's a big thing. Building the chemistry that you need. When you got to campus, we saw you out there at the basketball games and trying to spend some time with the guys. What has it been like so far? Just changing environments and the camaraderie in the locker room and even in the quarterback room. Are there things that you've taken away so far?
Right.
Have you gotten a guy on the team that's like, hey, this is my dude that I roll with? What's that been like so far?
So my roommate right now is Cameron Brown. So he was my high school teammate.
Okay.
Right when I moved here, me and him. So I got my group of friends, and it was a little difficult when I got out here trying to find like my place here. Just transferring from a new school. I was out at Texas A&M for 3 years. You spend that much time somewhere, everybody, and you ever get into something, you know exactly who to call, stuff like that. And then so coming out here was a little difficult at first, but I had to remind myself, I didn't really come here for all that. I came here because of my love for the game and playing football. Literally the single and only reason that I'm at Auburn, which I think everybody kind of knows that, but I had to kind of remind myself that and, kind of switch my focus back to, I'm not trying to, make a bunch of friends, frat, and they got a bunch of frat stuff here. I know that, I'm not really into all that. It's been good, hanging out, getting to know the guys here. But really, I feel like my bond is created with guys through working with them. Like Cedric Jackson, Shank, they were both here all May. We were throwing 4 or 5 days a week, working out early in the morning, coming back in the afternoon, throwing. So it's stuff like that. When you get out there with guys like a lot, and you're making sacrifices, it creates a bond with you. Like our zero Anaya Smith at Texas A&M, probably one of the hardest workers on that team, and he pushed me to another level. And it showed. Like I threw him an over-the-shoulder pass with 3 minutes left against Alabama. People don't know that same pass that I threw him. We probably worked over the shoulders. I probably threw him 2,000 of those the summer before.
Wow.
So it's stuff like that. And then, it's stuff like that that really builds relationships and builds bonds, in my opinion. Obviously hanging out with guys and stuff, you got friends, you do all that stuff. But I feel I'm a very work-oriented person. So when the guy that's going to be out there working with me, 5-6 days a week is going to probably end up being my best friend.
Speaking of work, I've seen some videos on Instagram of you throwing to Jay Fair. Now, Jay Fair has raved about your work ethic, and it looks like you guys are building a pretty good rapport there, getting those reps in. Like, how many days would you say you're in the facility throwing balls with those guys?
Shoot, as much as my arm will let me. Some days, some weeks it might be 6, some weeks it might be 3 or 4, but no, not 3 or 4, at least 4.
At least 4.
But yeah, as much as I can. I've never said no to a receiver if they want me to go ask them. If they ask me to go up and throw with them, I've never said no. And then, I text all of them almost every day, hey, I'm going up to do this or that. But yeah, Jay's one of those guys. Jay never says no. That's my favorite thing about a guy, when they never say no. So I don't think I've ever texted Jay and he said, no, I can't. He's always ready to go up there and work.
I've been told to ask you if you have a favorite receiver yet. And I was also told that the answer better be Jay. But I want you to speak for yourself. Who's your favorite receiver so far?
So I like all our receivers. I'm not gonna lie. I like all of them.
Anybody stand out this spring? Does anybody stand beside Jay? Because I know you get a lot of work in with him. Right. But is there a guy you can identify this spring and say, like, wow, like I'm going to throw a lot of touchdown passes to him this year?
I'm gonna be honest. I could probably sit here and say that about like 6, 7 dudes, and probably more about a month from now when these freshmen kind of start really, really learning their stuff and are on top of their stuff. You look at guys like you got Cedric Jackson and Malcolm, both playing outside, both. And my favorite thing about our receivers is they love to work. I can text all of them and we can be out there maybe 11 guys deep, throwing routes, doing drills, all that stuff on any given day. But those guys, Lando has been doing really good in his kind of conversion to trying to be a true receiver. I think he's doing really well. Our slot guys, VAR, Jay, Chick, all 3 game changers, playmakers. VAR has extremely good speed. Like I was showing him film like, dude, you can play like Devontae Smith if you really learn the game. Pick 2. And Jay came in January, and I was really happy with him. He reminds me of kind of the zero I was throwing to at A&M and Nia Smith. I mean, just a smooth route runner and really wants to learn the game. That's my favorite thing about receivers is when they're willing to really learn the game, because you can be a really good receiver, and if you don't know what your quarterback's thinking and you're not thinking the same thing, it doesn't mean anything. You could be a really good quarterback, and if your receivers don't know what they're doing or aren't thinking the same as you, it doesn't mean anything. So kind of taking that next step, and really all those guys. So, I mean, they all stand out. I mean, they're all doing really good, working hard. They want to win, and they want to have success, and they prove it by putting in the work that they need to.
You know, you're talking about getting in that work. One of probably the biggest challenges any player has changing schools is learning a new playbook.
Right.
You know, how long in your estimation do you think it takes for a guy to properly absorb a playbook? And, you know, how much of that has to be done on the field, and how much of that can be done in the film and just looking at a paper?
So it wasn't, the biggest thing was it's like learning a new language. So everything's kind of the same, especially I came from, in my opinion, one of the most complicated playbooks in college football. Jimbo's playbook is, I don't have one with me. I mean, that might be the biggest playbook I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
So I personally don't think, I mean, we might have to do some things a little differently, but I don't think we have really anything that I've never done before. So when it comes to concepts, we don't really have anything that I've never seen and done before, which is good. And I'm happy that I was able to spend that time in that offense, because it created a good knowledge of the game for me. But for me, it was literally it was like switching languages. So it was like going from English to Spanish. All the words are the same. It's just putting one word with another word.
Right.
And it messes me up because our trio right, our trio right is completely different from A&M's trio right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was tough, but Coach Harsin helped me a lot with it. He actually gave me a couple different strategies when it came to watching games and having my sheet with me and identifying personnels and formations and motions. And that was probably the best thing, one of the best pieces of advice he gave me, because now I really started learning it. And then with concept, I mean, I feel really good about the offense. You can never know enough, though. So, I mean, I'm going to keep studying it all summer and going to camp. My goal is to be the most prepared quarterback in our room, but even in the country. So I'm gonna keep preparing and keep learning, but I feel good. My grasp of the offense is really good.
Okay, Zach, time for me to put you on the spot. No copping out on this question.
All right.
You've been at Auburn for an entire spring. In your estimation, who's the fastest guy on this team right now? Who's the speed demon?
Owen Papo.
What?
Hold on, wait.
Or VAR.
Okay, hold on, wait. Start that over. Say that again for me. Who's the fastest?
I'm gonna say Owen Papo, but that's a Georgia product. I know Owen since like 8th grade, so But
that's the first time we've gotten Owen as the speed demon on the squad.
Man, Owen was running a 4.5 in 8th grade.
What?
Now I know Owen's got a motor on him, but everybody that's the first time anybody said he's the fastest guy out there.
Okay.
I don't think there's a
quickest or fastest.
There might be a couple guys, but Owen's up there. If I had to think off the spot, I've never really seen a lot of guys run full speed. Like, you know, I'm trying to think.
Like even guys that are running routes, like who's the guy where you're like, man, I can't even overthrow this guy because he's just
right.
Oh, I would say Shed and VAR. Shed and VAR run fast. Going deep balls to them, they run fast. I got to try to overthrow them.
Okay. Shed's name has come up a couple of times. So
yeah, it feels like
when Shed runs full speed, Shed is fast.
Okay,
Shed is really fast.
It feels like we have a ton of speed on this team. But like, can you get a proper gauge of the defensive guys? Because the one name that's popped up consistently in all these conversations is Nehemiah.
Yeah, okay, there it is. Yeah, everybody says Nehemiah can get at.
Okay, all right, yeah. They were also, Coach Harsin was telling us about this machine that you guys have that measures acceleration over a certain amount of yards. Have you done this drill?
I did it one time. I did it one time, and that was my first time sprinting since my surgery. And I was like, I'm done. I'll do it a couple months from now.
Okay, all right.
What, you weren't happy with the results, huh?
No, I wasn't happy with it. But I can guarantee you, if I went in and did it again right now, that it would be like this. Just because it was literally my first time even running over 80% since my surgery.
Quick follow up. In your estimation, who's the slowest guy on this team? Like, who's the guy that if it's a scary movie, they're definitely tripping over something and getting got?
I'm gonna say it, and I hope he sees it.
I love it. Direct shade.
Actually, wait, let me think. It's gotta. I don't know. It's gotta be Council. I can't think.
Brandon Council. Okay.
There's no way anybody's slower than Council. There's no way.
I believe it.
He's moving backwards in time out there.
Something like that. If you see this, I'm gonna get you dinner. Just ask me when you see it. And I do like Camden a lot.
Okay.
All right,
Cam is really, really good.
So you're talking about Cam Brown. He's a linebacker, right?
Derek Brown's little brother.
Yeah. Okay.
So he was the one that actually put me in touch with Coach Harsin.
Okay.
While I was in the portal. When I was in the portal, I got home and he was like, well, what do you think about Auburn? And I was like, well, they'll be good, blah, blah, blah. He was like, you want Harsin's number? I was like, sure, I'll give him a call.
And this is Cam Brown, Derek Brown's little brother.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
But to speak about the other Cam Brown, he's really good. He likes to work. He showed effort. I like guys that like to work. If a guy likes to work and he likes to listen, we can work with that. And he's obviously a big dude, likes to go up and get the ball and really wants to learn. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table this year.
Zach, let's get into the quarterback room. You've got incumbent TJ Finley in there with Robbie Ashford and in the young buck Holden Garner. What's the quarterback room like? What's your camaraderie been like with those guys? Do you spend a lot of time with those guys? And how are you guys keep the competition but the camaraderie going?
I'm real cool with Robbie. I'm cool with TJ. I'm cool with Holden. And we're all cool. We like I help them. They help me when I ask. But for me, I like to keep it separate. Like at Texas A&M, Haynes King was one of my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
But we also knew when we got out on that practice field,
it's war.
We were going to battle.
Yeah, and
it was war. And then right off the field, he's my best friend. You know what I'm saying? But so I'd keep it separate. I put the work in. I act like the starting quarterback. That's my goal. That's what I want to be. I'm not going to act like anything less than that. But I fully expect that out of those guys too. And we're going to go into camp and we're going to practice really hard. And, one of us is going to be named the starting quarterback, and that guy is going to have to, at least perform to, if not exceed expectations in order to keep that spot and keep winning games. Because the ultimate goal isn't to be the starting quarterback. The ultimate goal is to win games, a lot of games and a lot of big games. So that's my goal. That's how I treat the summer. Is I'm working to win a lot of games, to win a lot of big games. I want to win an SEC championship and I want to win a national championship. And it takes more than just a quarterback to do that. It takes everybody.
Right.
So that's my goal. That's kind of how I'm attacking this summer, in this off season. And the battle's going to take care of itself. In my opinion, is going to be the hardest worker. It's going to be who gets the, who the team believes in, and they put that right here, and then I'm in my own lane, and I'm going and I'm attacking it. But I've learned a lot over my years in college, and I've decided I don't really want to treat competitions like competition, because when your goal is the competition, you only focus on that. It takes a lot of focus off what you need to be focused on.
So let me ask a follow-up question, because we talked to Jay Fair and he was saying, him being new, VAR was one of the guys that really kind of helped him get acclimated. Has there been somebody who, for you that you've been to, you said Coach Harsin, but has there been a player who you've been able to talk to that's been really helpful with learning the terminology and getting the playbook under wraps?
No. It's been me. I've been
it's quarterback though, so it's
it's quarterback. Yeah. It's different. It's different. So
yeah.
I mean, coach wise, like coach, we have a quarterback assistant named Coach Hartline who's been extremely helpful.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Mike Hartline.
Yep. I love going up there, watching some ball with him, going over stuff. He's been helping me teach. We're really kind of we're learning the offense together when he got here. But yeah, I would say he helped a lot. Coach Harsin, not much teaching, but more giving strategies. Coach Harsin showed me a couple of strategies where I went from watching a play. It was kind of hard to say, formations, motions, to 4 or 5 days later, I'm boom, 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 boom. Like this is dice right, X in. This is ding right. This is spread to ding, stuff like that, which was really helpful. And then from there, just my knowledge started skyrocketing. And it's really just spending time watching stuff, going through it in your head, going through calls, studying concepts. But from a player standpoint, I don't think anybody really taught me, and I feel like I was mostly self-taught when it comes to the playbook.
All right, Zach, I got to ask you about this one, and you can totally say it doesn't matter to you, but I want to know, Texas A&M on the schedule next year. Yeah. How is that going to feel going up against your old guys? You have that game circled on the calendar type of thing?
I mean, that's one of those things where it's just going to be it's going to be another game, but there's going to be a little to it. I spent 3 years out there. My heart was out there for a while. It wasn't easy to let go. I feel like I can speak for a lot of people when, you settle in somewhere, whether it's transferring in football and life, when you move somewhere else and you have, a lot of stuff established in a certain place, it's hard. It was really just like, it might've been harder than moving from home to college.
Wow. Okay.
But, at the same time, it's going to be another football game. I'm going to have, I'm going to be close friends with a lot of those guys that are on the field. But just like in a quarterback room, I'm going to go out there, and the moment I step on the grass, that's my enemy. I'm trying to win a football game. And there in the plains, I'm going to be talking my talk. I'm going to be doing what I'm doing. And then after the game, it's going to be friends game. Good luck, good job, good luck with the rest of your season. But, it's definitely going to be in my mind. I don't think it's going to not be in my mind, but it's going to be another football game. We get to it.
A follow-up. So you battled Haynes King for the job out there, and you ended up finishing the season as a starting quarterback. Now, obviously, he's coming off an injury, but you made the decision to transfer to Auburn rather than stay there and try to duke it out for that job. So, like what was the thinking there, Zach? Was it maybe I garnered, I made a name for myself. Now I want to take it someplace else, or what were you thinking there?
It wasn't an easy decision. I felt confident in myself. I'm like, in my opinion, if I would have stayed, I think I could have won the spot. I'm sure in Haynes' opinion, if I stayed, Haynes was going to win the spot, and that's how it's supposed to be. But it was a lot more that went into it than just the starting spot, and I was confident about it. I knew that I had not fully established myself as the guy, but proven that I have a ceiling. Obviously, my floor wasn't very good last season, and that was something that I wanted to improve. But there was a little bit, actually a lot more that kind of went into that decision. I probably won't get into all of it.
That's fair.
But no, I mean, I think I don't think I would have been wrong going either way. But, I'm at Auburn now, and I'm ready to turn Auburn up. So,
all right. So I actually want to ask you one more question about your experiences last year. Is there a defense that you faced last year that you feel like, man, that was they threw some stuff at me that I had never seen? Like, what was the toughest defense?
Man, I cannot wait to play that Arkansas defense again because that was my.
He fired up about this one.
Arkansas.
I like it, Zach.
Arkansas.
Because I can't. That was my first true start. I started the New Mexico game the week before that. That was a walkthrough. So Arkansas was really, really my first start. And they had this crazy not crazy defense, not crazy anymore. But in my eyes, I had never seen anything like it. They were always dropping 8. So basically they got 3 guys rushing. They got 5 guys underneath, and they got 3 guys deep. So they're passing off every route to each other. I mean, there's no holes in the defense. And their edges were getting off the ball quick. So
that's interesting.
My eyes, I feel like my eyes weren't necessarily always in the right place. It definitely kind of, flustered me a little bit, that defense just dropping everybody, trying to find holes. But I've studied a lot of film of Arkansas, in that little 3-5-3 defense they got. So because it made me mad seeing all the other SEC quarterbacks that gashed them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, how are they gashing this
But
drop
okay,
defense?
but level with me though. Do you feel like they respected you enough to drop that many guys in coverage because they didn't play Auburn that way?
Yeah, I don't know. We knew they were going to do that little three. We called it 3-5-3, and it threw me off.
I do know that defense was a lot different with Catalan out there, though. So he was a difference maker in how they were able to play. So they had to play a little differently with him hurt. But yeah,
I'll tell you what. I hope they play you the same way they played us last year because I feel like
I watched the film and they didn't play Auburn the same way. No, I don't know. We'll see. I'll be ready for whatever.
No, they went back to the 3-5-3 later, but they started the game with 4 down linemen. They were committed to say that we weren't going to run the ball.
Correct.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And then
it still didn't work.
It didn't work. Yeah. So wow. Okay. Yeah. I felt the bad blood coming through the screen when he asked you about Arkansas.
I was like, I couldn't even get the question good. He was like, no, Arkansas. I'm ready to get these dudes.
It's not even Arkansas. It's not even Arkansas.
You just need to redeem that performance.
It's the whole state. They're just all stupid, right?
It's that defense. So if we play if Mercer or San Jose or whatever runs that 3-5-3, I'm gonna be ready for it and I'm gonna be ready to gash it. But so if Arkansas does it again, I'm gonna be better with my eyes. I'm gonna know where I'm supposed to go with football. So
okay, so I want to stay here for just a quick second. So you're looking at this game in hindsight, like you're reviewing the film, and do you feel like maybe you guys needed a better game plan for that defense, or was it literally that you just weren't seeing what you needed to see?
I wasn't seeing what I was supposed to see.
Okay,
and I feel like I grew from that game though. Like I can picture a lot of like moments in a lot of games from last year. I can't even really remember like visually how it was going in the Arkansas game just because I feel like I was a different quarterback that game than I was the rest of the season. Okay. Just because I was a little flustered just by the fact that I'm trying to find a hole in between 8 people on a 50-yard field, which is not easy at all.
For sure.
And then it in the play, the opportunities were there. There's moments from last year. Like I remember it was 3rd or 4th quarter and we started the drive. We were down by 5 and I threw a hole shot to Anaya Smith to start the drive. And the very next play we went in a run formation. So we had 2 tight ends. We ran a post corner, knowing that they were going to drop everybody out. We put Isaiah Spiller on an angle route and I literally hit the center in the head. And I was like, dude, what the heck? And they picked it and scored. And that was the game. But stuff like that. We had the right game plan. It was just a matter of, me kind of executing it. I took a lot of responsibility for that game.
Hey, sometimes you learn the most from the losses, right? Because you go back to the drawing board and see what you need to do better. So that's good to hear.
All right, before we let you get out of here, I got one more question. You came from a dynamic backfield there in Texas A&M. How has it been so far? Have you had an opportunity to kind of see this running back room up close, and what is your assessment of the run game with Auburn so far?
I know I have a good feel for our offense now, and Tank Bigsby's like 15 feet behind this computer. He's got the room right next to me, so
okay.
I got a good feel for him, but him, Sean Jackson, Jarquez, and then the new running back we just got from Georgia,
Lamar Alston.
Yep. Yeah, I feel really good about them. Tank's a downhill guy, runs the ball really good. I remember being pissed at him last year when we were playing, looking up at the big screen. I thought we were going to tackle him in the backfield. Next thing you know, he gets a first down. I'm just like, wow. But him, Jarquez loves to come out where he loves throwing. So the first day I was throwing to him, I got a little zip on my ball. So the first day he was, right like this, but it's been cool to see like 3-4 weeks later after him coming out, 4 or 5 days a week, he starts catching them. Now when I take a little bit off, it's real easy for him to catch. It's going well. And then Sean Jackson, he just earned a scholarship in spring, but that boy likes to work. And he can run the ball and he can pass block. And then, Tank's going to do what he's going to do. So, but yeah, I love our running backs. I like our running back room. Our whole offense, I think, is really dynamic, and I think we're going to be really good.
Zach, has the team given you a nickname yet? I based on some of your fashion choices, I've seen Swaggy Z thrown out there on social media.
Bro,
Oh, Dad, look at his face.
Wow.
Swaggy Z, what you got going on? What's the nickname for you now in the locker room?
Man, just Zach. I don't think
Zach?
I got the fans like to give me nicknames. I've seen a couple every once in a while. I ain't finna get into them, but they can, whatever. They keep telling me I need to go to Eddie's and do an NIL up there or whatever, but for some
The calzone thing, right?
the whole calzone.
Is that annoying for you? You like, man?
Yeah. Do you get annoyed at people saying? Do people call you calzone? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean on the team, not really, but
Okay.
that is not original. I've been hearing that. I've been hearing that since before people knew what calzones were.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But it don't bother me at all.
Listen, you might have to open up a calzone spot down there in Auburn. Well, Zach, we appreciate you joining us to let our listeners know a little bit about you. We know you're brand new to Auburn football this semester. Sounds like things are off to a great start for you, so we appreciate you giving us a little of your time today. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's it for another great edition of Building Rapport with our guy, Zach Calzada. Look, if you want more content like this, please hit like and subscribe. We are the War Report on most social media platforms, TW Rapport on TikTok. Fellas, we're signing off, and as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.